Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Shoshana and I'm a guide to life. I help navigate through the spiritual awakening. And I want to talk about creating a life of flow, going from a life of pressure, of being in the pressure cooker. I have to make things happen. I have all of these responsibilities to a life that is a continuous flow, that is not chopped up into sections and with pressure. And this is kind of a shift that we do along during the spiritual awakening because we're coming out of our conditioning, our have tos, what we were conditioned to believe that is the absolute way of being or the normal way of being. And our responsibilities according to society. You have to get up, you have to go make it happen, you have to force things, a lot of hard work. You have to force yourself down routes that you don't want to go, fighting and cooking where kicking where everything in you fighting and cooking where everything in you doesn't want to do it, and you force yourself to do it. Not only can you not do it to the best of if you're forcing yourself to do something and you don't really want to do it, you are not going to excel at that. You're not going to excel, and the end product is going to be less than if you had put all of your efforts into something that you love doing and that you have a natural tendency to want to do. And so we always talk about this flow, about getting into the flow. But how do you get into the flow? How do you go from here to here? Now, I'll kind of tell a story about it. Um, a lot of times, the things that we have natural tendencies for, we put into our hobby area. We put into things that we do for our soul, that we love doing. And we only allow ourselves to do these things if everything else in our life is already done. So if all of our responsibilities are done, then we allow ourselves to get into this. The thing is that because we're in this constant pressure, our mind doesn't know how to relax, even when we tell our mind to relax, or we tell our nervous system, okay, relax. And what happens is, as you progress through life and as you're training yourself to be in this constant pressure state, or your nervous system is constantly under bombardment of have tos, while you're doing one task, the have tos of 100 other tasks are already sitting on you, causing pressure. So whatever you're doing, you're not doing to the best of your ability, because you're already thinking about the next thing. So you're never truly present in the moment. And then we have these things that we love doing. For me, it would have been drawing, or when I was studying, when I would, and this is the story. I'm going to get my coffee. Hold on. Thank you for coffee. Mm. So when I went to study, I already had two children. I was 25 years old. I had two children that were young children. My son was born when I was shy of 21, and my daughter was born, or maybe I was just 21 and my daughter was born when I was 22. And so when I went to study, I had little kids at home. And I always put my studies last because I felt like my studies was for me. I needed to keep up the house. I was painting at that time for a furniture store. I was doing little paintings on their furniture for kids' rooms. And so I always felt like I had to, and that wasn't I mean, it was creative, but it wasn't what I loved to do, because it was always what they told me to paint, and I was always worried that it had to turn out exactly like they wanted it. So it was more like work. And I always felt like I had to get all of my responsibilities done with my children, the house cleaned, all the laundry done, all the dishes done. I had to cook. I had to get the kid all the kids stuff ready for the next day. And only when everything was finished would I allow myself to sit and do my work for my studies. I studied multimedia and graphic design and and um, movie making and stills, and there was a lot in there. A strategic marketing. It all had to do with back then. The internet was something that was pretty new. I learned how HTML and how to build websites, and it was the first program like that there was. I started my studies in the second year that program even opened in college, and so it was a lot of projects, a lot of animation and projects that you have to get deep into. So I wanted to get everything else that I had to do out of the way so that I could get into the projects and enjoy them. And what I found that was happening was that I was never getting to my projects. I would finally get everything that I needed to get done by 11 o'clock at night. I would be under immense pressure. My projects weren't getting done, and the house never finished. It was never done. And I remember at one point I had this like breaking point because I had all these projects piled up and all of these creative ideas that I wanted to do that I knew I wasn't going to have time to do. And finally, I just said, forget it. I'm going to do my studies. This is the time that I'm studying. I'm going to do my studies. I let myself off the hook. And what it was, and the point of it is that I took out the pressure from the home. I still had the pressure from I wasn't evolved as I am now, and I didn't have the spiritual look at the things. But now when I look backwards, I can see that I kind of just decided that I'm not allowing the pressure to run my life, and I'm going to do these projects, which is what I want to do. And then when I finished my studies, I finished with, I don't know what it's called in English, but with like excellence. And and lately I've been finding during the spiritual awakening that I'm kind of finding the same kind of mechanism or the same kind of pattern, which is get into the flow. So you let yourself off the hook from all the have to. So a lot of times I'll start feeling pressure coming up because we're in life. There's a lot of things that I have to do. And some things are done better under pressure. Some things you procrastinate around, you get a little bit of pressure and you finish something that you've been procrastinating around for 2 weeks in 2 hours. Um, but there's a different pattern that I want to talk about, and it's about the pattern of inspiration. And inspiration means just like making this video. I was thinking of this, and as the inspiration was coming through, I said, okay, I'm recording this because I know that if I just write it on a piece of paper for let's make a video about this later and talk about it later, I won't be connected to that same rabbit hole. And so life is leading me down the path of what needs to be done next. And so let's say, like yesterday morning, and this is a really good example. Yesterday morning, I woke up. Typically, I get my kids out to school. I have a cup of coffee, take the dogs out. I come back when my kids leave. I sit down and meditate. And right now, I'm also before meditation, making this video. I still haven't sat down to meditate. And so I have this kind of routine because I always meditate in the morning, typically as close as possible to the time that I wake up. If I don't have to get my kids off to school, then a lot of times it's even before I even have coffee. And I did have a schedule going that I would get up way before my kids and meditate before my kids. I got my kids out, and maybe I'll get back to that. Life is a game. Um, But when you have your schedule set in stone, like have to, you miss out on a lot of opportunities. So, for instance, yesterday I woke up in the morning. As soon as I woke up, there were things that were coming through, things that I was connected to, I guess, from sleeping. And I started writing. As I was boiling water to make coffee, I just started writing and writing and writing. And before my coffee was made, I had 4 pages written. And it just kept on flowing through and flowing through and flowing through. And when you are connected to that flow, it comes out exactly as it comes out in the best way possible. And whereas if I had said, well, no, I will write this down later, I'm going to stop the flow and I'm going to do my force myself down my routine, even though right now I am connected and what wants to flow through me wants to come through. Now, if you put that off and you force yourself to do something else, first of all, that is going to be nagging. It's going to be nagging because it wants to be expressed through you. And not only is it going to be nagging, you're not going to be completely present in what you're doing because that's nagging. And not only that, if you put it off, it's like a portal opens and all of a sudden all this information comes and wants to flow through you. And when you start getting distracted with other things and doing other things, that portal starts closing. So you're not in the depth of that rabbit hole. It's like when you're in a deep, deep conversation with a friend and you're in there at the very tiniest details, you can see everything. And then you go into something else in life. And when you continue the conversation, it takes a little while to get back to those depths and to the fine, fine, fine details of the internal workings of it. Just like we're in depth right now with this video, we're in depth because that portal was open and I went ahead and made this video while I am in that room. You can call it like a room in your mind, and I'm in that room so I can see everything that's all around me really simply. Whereas if I leave the room and then I want to write about the room, I'm writing out of memory, not from being within the room. And that's a good way of explaining it. That was good. And so when you have an inspiration, when you find that you're connected all of a sudden, there's something right now that wants to be expressed through you, follow that through. It's going to, and then you're going to have in the beginning that pressure. That pressure is back here. It's that automatic. It's in your nervous system. You can feel it here. You can feel it here, and you can feel it in the tenseness on the top of you can feel it in this area that I have to do something. I'm everything. So you can also feel it coming up here in your like your chest area and your neck area, and that pressure. And if you just dissipate it, just okay, all of that can wait. What is most important? What wants to be expressed through me is my God's work, is my purpose, is what I have come here to do. It is the most and the ultimate of importance. When we leave this body, this avatar, we give it back and we go into the ethers, we don't have the capability, the physical capability of leaving whatever messages wanted to flow through us in this avatar. It's already lost opportunity. And the mundane run of things is important also to master this plane so that we can live a comfortable life. That is of importance also. But think of like Van Gogh. Van Gogh couldn't support himself as an artist. He couldn't support himself and he never got to see his own fame. But he felt that he needed to paint. And so he did. And he left all of that for humanity. That the specific thing that you look at his paintings and you feel, and when you get really close to his paintings, you can see it's just made up of just splotches, but it makes you feel, it moves you. And he had to express that. And imagine if he forced himself to get up in the morning and go to a mundane job and didn't let that expression flow through him, it would have been lost to humanity and humanity would not even know. His part that he came to give to humanity, to contribute, would have been lost. So, what is more important? That I sit down and work really hard to make a living. I'm I myself, I have those pressures on me. I'm a single mom. I have those pressures on me. There's no one else. But something in me knows that there is a higher calling. And I feel dedicated to bringing out the messages that can help not only me, because as they come through me and as I put it into words, I understand what it is, right? Because before I put it into words, it's a big cloud. But as I bring them and put them into words, it's like you take something from it's like you take something from a big ball and you make it into one strand, one perfect gold strand. So you have to make it so tight and so accurate that you can express it in words, in one strand of words. So even for me, it's my own knowing of what's coming through me. And so I get the knowledge as I give the knowledge. So it's the gift that gives back. It gives back within itself. And that is what channeling is. And that is what every single one of us gets when we become in that place of giving and in that place of expression, of just expressing ourselves. We get that expression as well as a gift back. So we also get the reflection of it back to ourselves. And ultimately, that will bring with it providence. And not only will it bring with it providence, it will bring with it providence of that forcing yourself down a route and doing a him-ha job at something that you don't want to do, because you can't do it to excellence if you don't want to do it. You can get to pretty good. I know I've done that before. Or you can find parts of it and aspects of it that you do like that will allow you to do a good job at it. But if it is not aligned with your soul purpose, if it is not of higher purpose, if the only reason you're doing it is so that you can make a living and or because of pressure, then it's not going to come out in that flowy kind of beautiful way. It's going to be coming out in a choppy kind of way. You're like, okay, I forced myself to do this, and now I force myself to do this. That's not a flow. So when you start getting into, oh, wait a minute, this wants to flow through me, the more you become in expression of what wants to flow through you, the more you relax your nervous system because you don't have that nagging. And you also learn how to shut up those voices that are telling you, you have to perform, you have to perform, you have to do. And so you learn how to shut those voices off. And then within that creative expression, the inspired creative expression, what comes forth is so magnificent and you are the best at it because you are the only one who can do it in that way. And providence will have to come from that. And not only will providence have to come, the greatest form of providence will come from that because you are aligned with your soul purpose and you cannot stay without. It's just it is a exchange of energy, right? It's you create an exchange of energy. As you put out, you receive back. And and providence is also just an energy, and as long as you see yourself worthy, right? But you can't be in complete expression until you do see yourself worthy of it. So it's kind of like everything kind of fits together. That's why during the spiritual awakening, it's tapping. I say a lot of times that we're tapping because we're working on our self security, our expression, our letting go, our pain, our happiness, our relationships. We have all of these different aspects of self that we're tapping, and slowly they're all coming to a fine point where everything that you do is spot on. Everything that you do is divinely timed. That every piece of energy, I'm not piece, but every uh, uh, all of your energy is exact. There is nothing wasted. It's not like you're running around throwing your energy around everything comes into like a zap really quick. And you learn to flow in life. You learn to follow that calling. And the more you open up that calling, the more that calling will be there for you because you're creating a flow. You're coming, a calling is coming through, you're putting it out into the word, which pulls more, right? So when I opened up this video, I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. I had the idea and I know I needed to put it into words, and I did it live during the video. But when you go into one of those little rabbit holes, right, and I start talking about something, it's going to pull the next thing that needs to come. Whatever is a joint to that, whatever is connected to that, is going to pop up and come out as well. So you can trust that process. And when you start expressing yourself and you start getting into that flow, and it doesn't matter what your expression looks like, we're looking at the template of it. We're looking at the pattern of being able to express yourself. It could be dance, it could be writing, it could be art, it could be anything. Life is art. So it doesn't matter what it is and what it looks like for you, your expression. It is what is flowing through you that wants to get expression in the world. That is your gift to give to the world, whatever that is, and however that looks, and whatever the attributes of your personality are. You could be a bulldozer that goes out and changes the world because you know how to take action and lead people. That's your art, the leading. Or you know how to bring people together. Or, there's all different forms of this. It doesn't have to be in something that is, typical, atypical of a talent. And within yourself, deep, 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 within yourself what your talents are and what your capabilities are and the things that you are good at. As long as you get all the other crap and the noise out of the way, whatever that is will float to the surface automatically. It is what is so obvious that everybody else sees it about you, but it's so obvious they will never say it to you because it's just a given, right? Like my ex-husband, he is a force. He has all sorts of other attributes, but one of his base attributes is that he knows how to get things moving. And he is a force, like a bulldozer. And it's so obvious that I I really think that rarely anybody has ever told him that. And when I told him that after we got a divorce and we went through all the nasties, and we went through all the process of getting a divorce, and now we're friends, and we're we came to a place of peace. And so I told him once about this, and he was like really surprised, almost taken, but he straight away recognized it about himself. That is something that also, when you work one on one with me, I do see those energetic templates, and I will be able to point them out for you to kind of show you what the obvious kind of give you that mirror of what your natural attributes are. If you would like to work with me one on one, my contact information is in my website below, and I am so passionate about it. Um, um, I absolutely love it. I was made for it. So so if you would like to work with me, my contact information is in my website below, and I would love to work with you. Every time before a meeting, I'm excited to see who's coming, to see the magnificence of it, and every time I'm blown away by the people that I meet, and the talent, and the absolute amazing people that are watching and that come to me for guidance. So this is an invitation. Um, get back to the point. So creating a life of flow is like pulling that Kleenex kind of, but the Kleenex are it's you allow yourself, if something comes up, and it's telling you, like making this video, or like yesterday writing. Yesterday I wrote, yesterday I had all these plans of things that I have to do. I have to, I have to um I have to do to make a living. have all of these plans that I have to do, and there's pressure. And when this writing started coming through, I didn't meditate until after 11, even though I got up really early. I spent the majority of my day just writing and writing and writing and writing. And I felt like it had to be expressed while I was in that room, and not to wait, not to go and do all of the things that I have to do before I sit down and put all of that into words. I had to put that into words first. And when I do it in that way, not only does it come out the most natural and excellent, the things that I wrote, I was like, what? Where did what? Where did that come from? That came from me? And that's the ego, because it didn't come from me. I'm the filter. I am the vessel. And but a lot of times I'm really surprised at what comes out. A lot of times I'll read things that I wrote in the past. I'll be like, really? I wrote that? How, and that is the proof of God in itself, because how could I know those things? How could I know those things to put them into word? And the answer is I couldn't have. I was tapped into a divine intelligence, and those things were flowing through me. There is no way. How could I have known those things? There is no way. And that is in myself the proof within itself. So when you start quieting your nervous system, especially meditation helps, especially in the beginning when you can't find that quiet to express yourself because you feel guilty when you're doing something that you enjoy, because you have to be producing. And when you can start finding that quiet place, and sometimes you have to force yourself into the quiet place. When I was married, I'm going to get into another story. It's going to be really long. Um, for 8 years of my life, when I was building a business, I had four little kids at home, and I was working like crazy hours. And my expression came out through my work, but I was working crazy hours. And but I quit painting for 8 years. I didn't paint. And I remember when I left the business and kind of just like threw everything and ran, like closed everything off. I remember trying to get back into painting because I remembered that I loved it. And everything that I painted just looked like crap, because that place had been closed for so long that it wasn't flowing through me. And I kind of had to force it until I made it. And now I love painting and love drawing, and things come through and flow. I'm still trying to get back into that complete flow. But these videos are also a way of expression for me. So I'm going to end this here. I I love you. Thank you for watching. Again, if you would like to contact me, my contact information is below. I hope that this was helpful.